Pull up. Hey, this is the pull up show. We still got the key in the dough.
Hey, welcome back to another Tony and Tony All
All
Things
things
Podcast.
This is the pull up edition. So pull it up.
Pull up on me. Pull up.
You over there.
Pull up.
You too.
I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're back.
All right. You know what? We're just going to jump right into this one because what we're going to talk about is my Bears versus the Detroit Lions. Lions pulled up on a 52 spanker.
Pull up on you.
52 to 21. So you know the mood around Bear Nation.
No, not this again. Not this
Hey,
again.
you just can't get rid of it.
Not this again. This is not
Hey.
what I was hoping for.
Hey, this is the only drawing I got.
Hopefully we can turn that frown upside down, man.
I hope so. I hope so. But we're going to start this segment off with the big question. Is this loss proof the Bears aren't even worth watching live, or just the painful growing pains of a young quarterback still trying to find its way?
Well, let's put it here and say this. Similar game as last week, except he threw one pick. Similar game, almost similar stats. He threw 2 less completions, 3 less yards. Right here and now, Caleb Williams is going to give you this type of performance every week, it seems like. So either you're going to be happy with it or you're not going to. At the end of the day, the Lions needed to spank up on somebody after losing to the Packers. And it just happened to be y'all. I mean, you can't really blame this all on Caleb. Can't blame everything on him here. At the end of the day, really, they had 11 passing first downs out of their 19. They were 7 for 13 on third down conversions. They had 13 total drives, one more than the Lions did. Really what it came down to is just your defense and the big play factor that always kept coming into question.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what you're really wanting and what you really want to see are bigger plays out of Caleb Williams in that offense. Roma Dozier played pretty good. 7 catches, 128 yards. I mean, he caught both the touchdowns. You're really hoping for a more explosive offense. The defense right now is abysmal, but you're hoping for a more explosive offense.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. For me, answering the question, and this is interesting because I thought about this, I think somewhere early fourth quarter. It's like, I could have got some chores done. I could have been a lot more productive.
Yeah.
Seeing this spanker that was going on. But I think more or less, I mean, yes, you still want to support your team. You still want to be there and watch them. And I guess I have to understand that, okay, this has been Johnson's first year. So It's a new offense. It's the same old thing with the Bears. It's always a new offense that's always coming in, and it seems like things don't change. But this is Caleb Williams' second year, and it's also a second year in a new offense. So I like what Ben Johnson is trying to do. I think we just got to get more pieces. And then the other thing is the Bears are known for their defense. And it's like, I get it. Ben Johnson he's sort of like a offensive guru. And I think another question that comes into mind was the Detroit Lions, I saw this somewhere, were they really trying to run up the score, just to show Ben, hey, you left us. This is what you're going to get. No love lost. We're coming after you. But I guess with answering that question, I can give it another week. It's just growing pain. We have to understand that this probably is not going to be a playoff year. Only thing we're looking for improvement. If we could just view the game and look for improvement, look for Caleb. I will say this. I love how Ben Johnson did with the offense. It seemed like he was making sure that if that hot read is not there, then you're going to go to a shutdown. It was like 3 seconds, and then you got to get rid of the ball. And one of the commentators was saying, I guess they were speaking with the head coach and was saying that they want Caleb to be more of a point guard, not a shooting guard, but a point
Mm,
guard in the traditional sense. You know, in the NBA now, the point guard is also the shooting guard, but like more in the traditional sense, where you're bringing the ball up and you're trying to get the ball off to everyone else, almost like a rondo, so to speak. You know, back in Boston days.
mhm.
And I think that's what they're trying to do with Caleb. It started off pretty good, and then you start seeing him with his inaccurate passes. And like you said, it's the same old, same old.
Yeah,
That was a hard one.
yeah, it's a hard one. It's a difficult way because no one wants to be 0-2 in the division. Nobody wants to be on a losing path or have things not go their way. But at the end of the day, I mean, right here and now, you want to get your quarterback developed. And I know it's hard because everybody's seen Jaden Daniels last year and how he did everything. But I mean, Daniel
Right.
Daniels is sort of in the same ballpark with numbers and things like that. Like I said, if Caleb Williams wins with these numbers, that's a Jalen Hurts game. So at the end of the day, you're establishing the 3 seconds. You're establishing and building him. And even though these losses are hard, I mean, you got no names on that Chicago Bears defense. You got people who you never really heard from. Them put a lot of investment in. You put a lot of investment into your offense. Right here and now, you're kind of seeing the holes in the wall, just with the Bears coming in, having a great first drive. It's that first drive that makes you feel good. And then
Yeah.
there's no real stopping the other team from there on out. Um, just looking at this game, you have over 100, almost 150 yards, or I think 158 yards on the ground for the Lions. You have over 300 yards passing in the air. The Lions can do whatever they want. It's not really on Caleb's hands to keep up with the team that just dominates your defense every time they're out on the field. I mean, they held the same amount of possessions, the same amount of drives. They sometimes in the NFL, you're not going to always score that touchdown or get that field goal. It's just how the game is played. Now, if you're expecting this offensive Bears team to push the ball and score as many times as the Lions and have a shootout, then you must not understand your team. It comes down to understanding that the Bears are going to play their best ball. Their best ball, like you said, generates from their defense, and then it's going to generate from moving the ball down the field strategically on the first drive and building off of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think a good point. This is something that I noticed and I wrote down. This is our second possession. I thought this was a wasted possession. So we have the ball on our own 11-yard line,
Mm,
and we start off with like a 2-yard run. You know, this is where we're trying to get cute. It's a direct snap to Swift, and it doesn't go anywhere. Then after that, we have like a short throw. You know, it's underthrown. Well, actually, I mean it's a short throw, but we don't have the receivers running past the sticks. They're running, a couple yards before. So it's like a quick
mm.
3 and out, just like that. And I thought we just messed up. I mean, the 11-yard line, our own 11-yard line, and we do a trick play. I think we do 2 runs and then we throw a pass, and now we're punting. And so basically, they're getting the ball roughly around midfield. So I just thought that was a wasted possession. Um, and that's something I think the coach has to tighten up on there. Also, I did notice here in that first quarter, um, when the Bears blitz, it had no impact on Golf. He's
Yeah.
still back there sitting there, basically trying to decide on, do I want to go back to my first route? What about the second? I mean, he's able to look at all of his receivers and then make a decision. That's how much time he had back there. So definitely, like you said, the defense, there's some things that we really need to be working on in off season. But like I said, first year, we'll see how it goes. And then another thing that I thought was kind of interesting, or well, not interesting, but it was costly. We had momentum going, and then Swift fumbles the ball.
Yeah.
Now, this is kinda now I'm gonna ask you because when I played running back, it was kinda different, you know, many moons ago. So, I know you played running back in high school, but I thought this was interesting. He's following blockers, then he gets hit, and he fumbles the ball. I can understand if you make it to the second level or you make it through a hole and it's like a clean hit.
Mhm.
But this is where you are following blockers and then you get hit and you fumble. I don't know if I've ever seen something like that where you get hit and you fumble after following blockers. And maybe I guess we can almost go back to like the Ravens game, when you have Derrick Henry following his lead blocker, like that fullback. So maybe that's it. But I just thought this was just interesting. And it was another turning point in the game. I think from there, I think Bears fans, I think also the Bears players, started thinking, here we go again. Here we
Yeah.
go again.
Yeah, and really it comes down to 2 turnovers turn into 2 scoring drives, interception from Caleb Williams and the fumble turn into scoring drives. I mean, right there, that's 14 points. You're looking at, a 38 to 21 game right there. Basically, going forward, like you said, I personally, the only times I really ever fumble the ball, and I think I've only fumbled 2 or 3 times. One was a handoff directly from my quarterback off a read option,
Hmm.
thinking, maybe he's pulling, but it counted as my fumble because he pulled it.
Right.
2, being in a gang tackle open field and you get your arm and wrist pulled a certain way and you're like you can feel something pulling, and 3, just diving for the pylon and you just drop the ball out of bounds. I mean, that's the only 3 times I can ever remember fumbling.
Right.
Following a lead blocker, the ball is on high security at this point. So
Right.
I think that's something that's noteworthy to notice is maybe the fundamentals of just that 3 seconds throwing, the high and tight, the the simple plays where Roman Dozier scores on that first touchdown when you have 2 people crossing to the right and him coming underneath. Doing those simple fundamental plays just to manipulate the defense and to play fundamental ball and to make sure everything is in a high intense security moment, especially for someone like DeAndre Swift, who seems like this might be his last leg in the NFL if he doesn't prove his worth.
Yeah.
So it comes down to the fundamentals are good. Him playing hard, him running hard is amazing. But if you can't secure the ball in tough situations, even Ezekiel Elliott lost his job that way. So that's something I feel that's noteworthy and needs to be snipped in the bud.
Yeah. That's a great point. And I want to ask you, what do you think about the two quarterback sneaks that they did in a row and they didn't have any push? You think that was like basically coaching malpractice? It's like you're trying to be like Philadelphia and do the tush push,
Mm.
but we got no offensive momentum far as pushing Caleb. And it was just like third down, boom, fourth down, boom, nothing.
It comes to me and makes me think of the time I believe I was watching Justin Herbert that first week. They did the tush push and he ran
Hmm.
over to the side or to the right. Like he kind of ran
Right.
to the right, knowing like I might not get this. Same thing happened in the Clemson game where Kate Klubnik's kind of like, I'm not gonna get this off this tush push. I'm gonna have to sneak over to the side where there's at least a hole I can reach over. I think the tush push is a good idea, but at the end of the day, it's like if it doesn't work the first time, and as a quarterback you're going in and you're knowing it didn't work, just jump over top, stick the ball over, and
Yeah. Yeah.
do
It's
what you
like,
got to do.
why do the exact same thing again and then expect that, oh, we're going to pick up this first down? I
Hmm.
mean, at least they could have faked it, fake handoff, caught the tight end, off to the side or something like that out in the flat. But I thought that was another missed opportunity. It's like you keep seeing these missed opportunities, and I don't know. It was hard to watch, be honest with you. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, it's hard to
You
watch,
know what?
especially when Caleb's giving you the same performance he gave you last week. And like I said, if he wins those games, they're not bad performances. They're just another day at the job. But when you play for the Bears, it's like playing for in New York. You can't have another day at the job. You need to be playing great.
Yeah, and I know we could have did a podcast just right after the game, but after that performance, you just got to just sort of just let this sit. I mean, because it would have been a lot more fiery if we would have did the podcast right after the game. I had a whole bunch of things to say. I was like, nah, let me just calm down. I don't want to get into it. I mentioned some of the things, but yeah, I don't want to spend that much time on an 0-2 team right now. So to be honest, I'm ready to wrap this one up. But I'm going to
Hey.
wrap it up with this, the big picture that I got written down here. This wasn't just a blowout. It was a breakdown on every level for the Bears. Coaching, QB, defense, every reflection that the Bears made, wasted second possession, Swiss fumble that we talked about, the quarterback sneaks on both of those, the halftime collapse. We didn't even get into that. I mean, goodness. It was just a laughable second half win two. And at that moment, I started thinking, I think maybe next game, I'm just going to have to fire up the DVR and, now this is something. This is something back in the, when LeBron was with the Miami Heat. It's like eventually, I think throughout the years, you start getting to the point where you get so wrapped up in your team and you want them to perform well and you get your emotions just all wrapped up in it to where you just say, you know
Mm.
what? I'm just going to record the game. I check ESPN, see if they won. If they won, then I'll watch it. And it's like you're watching it from a different viewpoint. You're not watching it in the moment and you're getting excited and your emotions going up and down. It's like you're watching it to see what did they do good? What can they improve on? Like you're watching it more as a game tape to see like, okay, can I start watching them live again?
Yeah.
So I think that's what I was sort of thinking about with this game.
Yeah. Hopefully y'all come back out next week versus Cowboys, give them a beat down, and things will change.
I mean, we're going to get into that game. I got some things to talk about on that one. But with that, that's it on the Bears. It could be a 0-3. We're out.
Peace.
Pull up. Hey, this is the pull up show. We still got the key in the dough.